Guys, what's going on? Rogue Nation here with you. We got a story today. Come from the channel No Cap Media. You see it here on the screen. The video's out of Joplin, Missouri, and it's a meeting between this young man, who is a activist, citizen journalist, and the chief and deputy chief of police. Now we're going to go ahead and watch it and see if this is looking like accountability or looking like copsplaining. See what you have to say at the end of the video after we've seen it. I'll probably be premiering this, so we'll look through this together, and then you can tell me in the chat what you guys think about what the chief has to say. And we definitely will hold them accountable. So as long as they know that, we're good.
12:08 p.m. Somebody right there, Mr. Mayfield.
Rich,
It is me.
how you doing?
I'm all right, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to see you
Good
again.
to see you again.
I appreciate you coming into Joplin and being here and taking me in to talk.
Yeah, I told you I'll talk to anybody and everybody. I never have a problem with that. But it looks like we may have an issue here.
Okay.
And I think your concern, if I'm not mistaken, was that you say there was a safety bulletin that was put out on you by Joplin Police that.
There was a bulletin put out by Joplin Police Department, or I believe it was Joplin, because I've talked to the troopers and they haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to Webb City and they haven't seen it. So I'm not sure who put it out, but I know that Joplin Police Department had a bulletin out on me where they called me a sovereign citizen. They've, I guess, made a lot of accusations about me, and I guess I want a copy of it. I want to show the people what's happening, what's truly happening on the force. And then I got called yesterday. If you need to take that, I'm fine.
No, I'm good.
Then I got called yesterday by a friend who overheard Captain Duncan, who he didn't know who it was at the time, but then he went and watched the video, and he seen Captain Duncan, or heard Captain Duncan talking to another guy at an establishment, and the guy said something about punching me in the face, and he said, no, that's not a good idea, especially for a guy that's always recording. And then went on to say things about a trafficking case that's trying to be built against me. Said it sounds like it's a go. Then said something about he'd like for me to have a gun so that they could just shoot me. Then the guy said, I'm sure that your superiors could help cover that up. You used to be able to do that. And he basically said that he'd like to plant a gun on me so that he could shoot me. This was all told to me by somebody else. So, I mean, it's something that I would like looked into. Like, I can probably get you where it was at, and you can see the two people. I don't know if you can get a recording or you can hear what they're saying. But he's terrified. He doesn't even want, he was thinking like he wasn't even going to tell me. And he's like, I couldn't do that though, because if you end up dead, I'm going to feel responsible.
Now, have you brought that to the attention of the Missouri State Highway Patrol that's investigating this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And so basically they said, unless he'll come forward, it's hearsay. So he can't really do anything with that, is what I was told.
Okay. Well, as far as investigating that type of thing, for accountability's sake, we're going to let Missouri State Highway Patrol take care of that, because, you know, the standard reasoning is you can't investigate yourself, so we're going to let that outside agency take care of that. I think that's the best way to do that. But to address your concern about the safety bulletin, the reason that the safety bulletin was put out was because of this. This is, and this should look familiar to you because this is from your website, where you say, you indicate that you're advocating people to start shooting police officers. I mean, these are your own words here.
I'm a part of this, but there's no evidence that these are my words. Yes, I'm a part of this group. Yes, I'm a part of bringing police accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am. And here I'm going to show everybody what they're saying. Let's see. Right here. So, and I'll read it. When we start shooting bad cops for killing our brothers and sisters, who will be the bad guys? Because it's a true question. Who is the bad guys if the cops are doing these things? And if a cop is going out there and talking to other people about planting a gun on someone and shooting them and killing them, who's the bad guy? I mean, I'm asking for a police accountability. I'm not asking for me to not be held accountable. I'm not asking for any of it.
Well, there's always going to be police accountability. But my question at this point
there
is,
hasn't been.
Are you in charge of this No Cap Media website?
I'm not in charge of it.
So you're just
I'm
a member of it?
part of it.
Okay. So you didn't type this question about shooting police officers?
I don't remember if I did or not.
So you're saying it could have been you that typed this in?
I don't remember if it was me or not.
What about this other one where you talk about shooting these officers? Who? Did you post that one as well? Or do you not remember that?
Because I believe that's from the same Facebook site.
Our lives and our brothers and sisters' lives. You see, when you don't hold them accountable and you disable our ability by not making them follow Sunshine and FOIA request laws, we don't have many other options. I don't remember typing that, so I can't answer if I did or if I didn't.
But you're saying it's possible that it was you?
That it was me? That it's possible that it was?
I mean, is that what you're saying? You say you can't remember if you did it or not, so you're saying it's possible that you typed that?
I can't recall. I don't know.
Okay, that's good enough. That's good. That's fine. So here's where we are with this. When somebody, whether it's you or a member of your Facebook group, when somebody puts this type of thing out publicly, advocating shooting police officers, how do you think that makes us as police officers feel?
Hopefully, like you should watch your brothers and sisters, and you should hold them accountable for their actions. Hopefully.
Well,
hopefully
that's what we do all
it
the
would
time,
get you guys to put the bracelets on your brother, on the boys in blue that are violating.
But when somebody gets on a website and says, I'm advocating shooting
That's
cops,
not what it says.
when we start shooting bad cops for killing our brothers and sisters.
Bad cops.
But it still says shooting cops.
Bad cops that are acting outside of the law.
Well,
that
bad
are
cops is
using
a very
color of
subjective
law.
thing.
That are using the color of law to protect themselves from being held accountable. That's what it says.
Okay. Well, that's subjective. That's, people can interpret that any way they want to. We interpret it as whoever it was that wrote this saying that advocating shooting.
How long ago was that? When was that actually posted?
August 14th.
August 14th.
August 14th of 2023, yeah.
Okay.
So,
and then when was this one from?
I don't see a date on this one. Do we have a date for that one? But this is, apparently this one here is in response to not getting information that had been requested through the FOIA.
Yes, the Sunshine Law, FOIA, all those things, which I've requested quite a bit of information, and I've been given next to nothing from Joplin Police Department.
Any information that's requested that meets FOIA standards, we're going to release it. Any that meets Sunshine request standards, we're going to release it. But if it doesn't meet those standards, then we're not going to release it. The bulletin that you're talking about, the safety bulletin that was put out in response to this email that's advocating shooting police officers, was an internal intelligence bulletin and this letter was sent to you, and it states that intelligence bulletins are exempt from that.
It was actually put out in two different bulletins. So one was an intelligence bulletin, and the other was not an intelligence bulletin. That's true.
I haven't heard anything about that. Well, why would you say that the other was not an intelligence bulletin?
Because I've seen them both.
Well, if you've seen them both, why are you saying you want them if you've seen them?
Because I want to show the public, I want to show the people, I want to show the world. I want to take corruption down. I want it gone.
So do I.
I want the corruption gone.
So do I.
That's it.
There should never be police corruption, and there's not going to be police corruption as long as I'm around.
And I agree, and I believe you.
And I think we're on the same sheet of music with that. Yeah.
I talked to you when we were up there and I asked you,
Yep.
a government for the people, by the people, and of the people would be accountable to the people.
And we
both
are
agreed
accountable
that.
to the people, because the police carry a lot of power, a lot of responsibility, so we do need to be accountable to the people, and we're always gonna be accountable to the people. But we cannot tolerate people making threats against us. It'd be like, what if somebody said that they wanted to do something bad to you?
That's what I called about yesterday, and you know what I was told by a member of your staff? A police officer wouldn't do that. I was told that yesterday. When I called in and I talked about Captain Duncan talking to a person and directly trying to find a way to violate my rights, and then went on to say how he would like to plant a gun on me and shoot me. That is egregious. This came from an officer's mouth. Now, if he's thinking that,
we'll let the Missouri State Highway Patrol investigate that, and if they find something, then we'll do whatever is appropriate with that.
but you guys can take action too.
Well,
You guys
everybody-
have internal affairs that
Everybody
can.
gets due process. Everybody
Yes.
gets their fair shake to be.
Yes, they do.
Because an accusation is just that, it's an accusation. Everybody has the right to due process to be found to be innocent until proven guilty. And with what you're saying now, it's just an accusation against Captain Duncan, and he's innocent until he's proven guilty, as every American citizen is.
Yes.
So we'll let Missouri State Highway Patrol look into that. If there's something to it, we'll deal with it appropriately. I can assure you that. So that's on that side of the coin. On the flip side of the coin, it's my understanding you're upset because that safety bulletin wasn't released to you. It's an intelligence bulletin that is not covered by the Sunshine Laws or the FOIA laws or anything like that. And internally, as a police department, we need to be able to have safety bulletins. If somebody will just take your name out of it, if somebody is out there saying, hey, let's go shoot police officers, or I think for whatever reason we should be shooting police officers, can you see how that would, put us in a position where we would say, hey, who is this person? Why are they saying this? If we encounter this person, we need to be on a heightened sense of safety and security.
I can understand being on a heightened sense of safety and security. The part I don't understand is picking apart my poetry and grabbing the parts that you want to build the context that you want to build, which was done in that bulletin. There's parts of it that was taken from poetry.
When we
that
start
you guys
shooting
took.
bad cops for killing our brothers and sisters who will be the bad guys, that is not poetry. That's not poetry.
That may
That's a
not be
threat.
poetry. It's not a threat. That is not a threat.
You don't see how that can be taken as a threat.
You can take it however, like you said, you can see things however you want to see them.
True.
Like it's a question is what it is. That's all it is a question. So, and it's an honest question because you look at like I have a Derek Chauvin thing. If somebody would have walked up and shot Derek Chauvin for kneeling on that guy.
You talking about Eric Chauvin, the officer involved with George Floyd?
Yes. Yeah. If somebody would have walked up and shot him and saved George Floyd's life, they would be in prison right now.
They would get due process.
But they would probably be in prison.
Well, that's subjective.
Because that's that's true. It is subjective. But at the same time, the other officers, they probably wouldn't be in prison. They'd probably be dead because the other officers would have shot that person. That's the issue we face in America is the lack of accountability when we see the character of a person and then we don't hold them accountable for
Well, who in Joplin Police are you saying is doing this kind of thing? Because we can talk about
I've got videos that are out there that you guys have already seen, and you know who's doing it. Officer Wickman, he's one of them. Officer Wickman was on a phone with some friends of mine after he arrested a guy for a DUI. I've asked for that video as well. So he arrests this guy for a DUI and gets on a FaceTime with this other person and talks to them, and they say, she said, why didn't you give name and badge number when Barry requested it? And then why did you arrest him? And his response was, I don't give a fuck. That was his response on a FaceTime with a person. Now, is that the type of officer you want on the streets? One that don't give a fuck about policy or law or anything?
It happened before I got here, so I've written down the officer's name. I'll look into it.
Yeah, and then there's video out there when I went to help some young kids out and Joplin Police Department loves to tow vehicles. They love towing them. They just did it this weekend to some kids and gave them a CNI in a private parking lot for flashing their lights. They weren't even moving. They were sitting still. The video's out there. Everyone can see it. I put it on my page even. Like, how do you get a CNI sitting still in a private parking lot?
Well, that's something I can look into as well. And when I say look into it, I'm not blowing you off.
Yeah.
When I say look into it, I mean I'm going to look into it. I'm going to check things out.
I don't know the officer that arrested me the night because Wickman's name is the only one that was put on there.
Is that when you approached them when they were conducting a stop?
I did not approach them.
You didn't?
No, I was across the street and I asked for name and badge number several times. I told them they don't have to tow those vehicles because other people can show insurance so that other people could save these kids some money and drive their vehicles home. Like they were saying they didn't have insurance. Now there's 3 kids that were charged. 2 of them, the charges got dropped right away because they had insurance. And they told the officers they had insurance, but the officers wouldn't listen.
But do you think it's appropriate to interject yourself into scenes like that? I mean, if you think something's going on that's wrong, like you say those kids got their cars towed inappropriately, why not give the kids after the fact, once the police have finished doing what they got to do, and say, hey, I think you should go this route with this?
I have, but I also think it's important to put it out there for everyone to see, for people to know, because the only way to stop tyranny is to use our First Amendment. That's it. That's the only defense we have as people against a tyrannical government is our First Amendment.
I agree, but what does the First Amendment have to do with you interjecting yourself into an ongoing, an active scene that the police are involved in?
The scene was pretty much over when I came back over. I went over to pick up my son, who was in a vehicle that was getting towed. So I went over there and I'm recording because it's egregious to me. Like, why are you doing this? My son could have showed them insurance and he could have drove, and none of them were drinking. But then they go out and they tell the public these kids were drinking. They weren't drinking, they were just making things up to justify what they were doing. This is what Joplin Police Department has done over and over and over. They justify after the fact. Just like the night that they arrested me, what they did is I said, I want your name and badge number. It's policy in Joplin to give name and badge number when requested, is it not?
When you pull a car over, you give them you can give them your name and identification. That's correct. But when you come and insert yourself into the situation and they're trying to conduct business, you're interfering with police business at that point.
That's not true. That's not true because the Supreme Court has already decided that I can talk. I was not in the way. I was backing up. I didn't obstruct anything. And as soon as they wouldn't give me their identification, as soon as they refused, I went over to the back of the vehicle to get the plates, because I know we can get the plate. We can find out who had that vehicle by getting the plates and checking it back to the checkout, right?
You can.
It is in your policy.
Court can flesh that out. That's what we have.
It is in your policy because I looked it up and I posted it. Your policy says when asked by the public, officers will respond with name and badge number. It's in your policy. So don't try to deny that now.
I'm not denying that at all.
You just did.
What I'm saying
Did
is
you approached try to deny that?
You approached our officers and interfered in their business.
I was across the street. I was all the way across the street when I asked for name and badge number.
Okay.
All the way across the street. Other kids were yelling, saying things. They were calling them names. I said, no, you don't do that. I was the one telling them, don't do that. They're doing what they're taught. This is because of the leadership they've had before. That's why they act like this. We have to educate them out of it.
That's why who acts like that?
The police officers. That's why police officers act like that, is because their leadership doesn't lead by example.
Well, I'm the leadership now, so...
Yes, you are, and that's why I'm here talking to you.
And I appreciate you coming in, but this is the proper way to do things. If you have a complaint or a concern, come in and talk to us so we can get it hashed out. Whoever, whether it's you or somebody else that put this stuff on the website, the No Cap website about harming police officers, that's not the right way to do it.
Okay.
That is not the right way to do it.
Okay, and I can agree to that.
Okay.
I can agree to that.
Okay.
And I can say, if those are still up, that I'll go back and look and I will pull them down personally.
I appreciate that.
I will do that because I do believe that. I mean, my stepbrother was a police officer for 25 years in Wichita, Kansas. I like to believe he is a good officer. He was on SWAT. He made it to detective. I mean, I mean, I hope he did a good job. I hope he wasn't hurting people.
Well, if you let him see that post and you ask him what he thinks about it, I'll be interested to see what he says to you.
Oh, I'm sure he's seen it. I mean, he's gone on some things that I've posted, and we don't talk a whole lot, but he's expressed his thoughts to me, and when it thinks it's out of line, he's shown me.
Okay.
He's let me know. So I mean, I'd talk to him. I'll see what he thinks. I mean, I know why he left the force, and I know why I've been told he left the force, because he didn't feel he could trust the people that had his six. That is unfortunate, because you've been there before. I mean, I've read up on you.
Yeah,
I'm not an ignorant person. You have been there before, and you've been on a force where things are tyrannical, where they weren't accountable to the people, and you tried to make them accountable to the people.
So if you looked into my background, then you've seen that I've tried to help people who needed help and the problems I had with that. So you can see that me being here, things are going to be done the right way. And I'm not saying that they haven't been done the right way, but that should settle some things in your mind if you know a little bit about my background.
That's why I'm sitting right here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Mr. Wingfield, in a nutshell, what is it that you want to have happen at this point?
I just want to see accountability from here on out. I want to see the people that are wearing the badges, the people in uniform, act like people that we should follow. That's what I want to see. I want to see
I
leadership.
think we're all in agreement then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any difference of opinion there. I don't see whether it should be a.
But when your assistant chief sits over there and tries to make up a scenario that isn't even real, and just right now, that doesn't show me the accountability that I'm looking for. Now you're talking straight to me, and you're taking all the subjective things out of it. But that when I say something subjective, you corrected me. Now when he was saying something subjective, there was no correction there. So the way that he says, well, if our officers pull you over and they come to your vehicle, then they should give whatever. No, that is not what the policy says at all. The policy does not say that. You could go pull it up, can't you?
Sure.
So that we could bring it in here and we
But I
could
think-
show the people what it actually
The
says.
problem is when an officer's out on the scene doing whatever work it is that they're doing, when they have outside people coming into that scene and saying, hey, I want, and distracting them. When you start getting distracted, things go off the rails.
They
That's
can, yes.
Now,
But
if
when
after
your
that scene was
officers,
over, if you had approached them and said, hey, I have a concern, can I have your name and badge number? That would have been a different story. But if while they're in the process of working a scene, whatever the scene may be, if you come into it,
the
that
scene
diverts their attention.
was over. They were just standing there talking to the kid as the tow trucks pulled up to tow their vehicles away. The scene was over. The kids were over there talking and saying things to them across the street. The scene was pretty much over. So that's what I did.
Do you remember the date of that incident?
I mean, I was arrested. You guys can pull that up.
Yeah, we can find that day.
Okay, well, I'll look into
Yeah.
that one as well.
I mean, the accountability's got to be on both sides. We can't just have you guys pointing the finger at me and writing bulletins and doing all these different things to try and make me the bad guy when your guys are out there really violating the law, violating the Constitution, not holding themselves accountable.
Well, that's not gonna happen. I can't say that it has happened because I just got here. I've only been here a couple of weeks. But it's not gonna happen while I'm here. And I don't think any of these guys would tolerate it happening either. But I know you have issues with things that have happened in the past, but I'm telling you from this point forward.
I've had maybe a couple of experiences with is it Captain Wolf?
Yes, sir.
And you know what? I can say Captain Wolf has been professional in the experiences that I've had with him. He's answered my questions. He's done those things. I haven't had, and I can say that I haven't had an issue with Captain Wolf. Now, Assistant Chief Lewis, it's a different story. I've seen him try to lie, try to hide things, not be accountable to things, to try and mislead or, and I don't believe that's accountable. I don't believe that that's a great leadership value.
Well, I don't know what those instances are, but it doesn't sound like there should be a fight here because you're saying you want police accountability. We're saying we want police accountability. You're saying you want things done the right way. We're saying we want things done the right way. But what we're also saying that I think you might have some disagreement with, or maybe you don't, is when we see stuff like this that advocates harming police officers, that dog ain't never gonna hunt. You know, it's just not. And that's why, and I think it's 100% totally appropriate to say, hey, this guy has just said that he advocates and is encouraging people on his website to harm police officers. Here's who he is. This is his picture. So if you see him, just be aware of that. Don't go after him. Don't mess with him. But if you see him, just be aware that these are the things he's saying. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that being put out to police officers.
Quick question though.
Yes, sir.
How many times do you think I came in here and I tried to talk to them before any of that was put out?
Well, there's another incident.
Any of these people put anything out?
The training center was the time in question where you filed.
That's where
came down,
Captain
And that's
Duncan assaulted me.
And do you know who requested the highway patrol to investigate that?
I did.
No, I did. I sent the request letter for that because it is about, we want to make sure that we're accountable to the public. And with your complaint, I thought it was the best action to contact another agency, which is when Captain Wolf contacted me that day. I wasn't at the station. I was the one that made that decision to farm that out to the highway patrol.
Because would it be credible in your view if you file a complaint against one of our officers, one of our commanding, top command officers, and then we investigate that ourselves? Would that be credible?
No, but why is he still on staff? Why isn't he removed from duty?
Due process.
You've seen the video, and you probably pulled the video from up there. I did nothing outside of my constitutional rights. I was in public areas. I even told them they could go back because I had no ill will towards anyone.
Was that inside the training building?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just filming in public areas, and they came out, followed me around. He came at me, grabbed my arm, and
if you're inside one of our facilities, we have the right to say, hey, training is going on. This is a closed facility. We need you to exit the building. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you were asked several times to leave before.
It wasn't a closed facility. They had doors on the room where the training was going on where they could close the doors. I even spoke to the person that said, well, our AC isn't working that well. And I said, well, tell me about it. Tell the people.
What happened when they got to court?
Get you. It hasn't gone to court yet.
So that incident hasn't gone to court
That's still going to court.
We'll let the court case handle it. Whatever they say we
that
should
one's
do is
not
what we'll
going
do.
to court though, because I didn't.
You're talking about the arrest in August. That's going to court.
Yeah, the arrest in August is going to court.
Gotcha.
Because they gave me, what is it? A person in roadway, obstruction, and failure to identify, or something along.
But that was
those
from Jasper
lines.
County, wasn't it?
No, that was by
that was
Joplin Police.
Okay.
That's what they gave me. A whole bunch of BS charges that they came up with after the fact that you can clearly see I'm backing up, I'm staying out of their way. I was using my First Amendment right to use my voice to try and help other people. I mean, I did nothing against the law, and they had to make things up because they got emotional. They didn't like what I was saying, and they didn't like the accountability. So they let their emotions take over, and they came at me the same way Officer Duncan did. So this is a leadership issue. This is something that is infected throughout the leadership of Joplin Police Department. They think they can go hands-on with anybody at any time because they've been allowed to, because they can just make up charges out of the blue. And you know what? They're probably going to get those charges to stick in city court, because I've talked to several attorneys in town here, and they said the only way you win is by appealing. You have to appeal it, because in city court it doesn't matter. It doesn't. They don't. They'll just find you guilty of something so that you can't sue them. That's basically it. It comes down to money.
Any of the issues that you just brought up, like I said, I'm the new guy in town. I've just been here a couple of weeks. I'm going to keep my finger on it. I'm going to keep my eye out. If this kind of thing is happening, it'll get dealt with. If it's happening, it's going to stop.
So what about this weekend? Those kids that were in the parking lot, and they got a CNI in a private parking lot when they were parked.
Well, we'll let that play out in court, because that's not your business. That's those kids' business.
These are my brothers and sisters. How is it not my business?
Well, let your brothers and sisters handle it in court.
Okay.
And it'll play out the way it plays out. You can't be the white knight in shining armor for everybody in the city.
Well, then what are you here to do?
I'm here to enforce the law and to run the police department.
Okay, but you've got to enforce the law on both the people and the police.
You're right.
So if the police are going out of their way to try and show something that isn't even true, then that's a police officer that needs to be removed.
And when that kind of thing happens, I will deal with it.
But I'm pointing it out to you right now. I'm telling you, my
And I wrote
brothers
it
and
down. I'm
sisters.
going to look into it. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah, my brothers and sisters are calling me and they're saying, "Hey, what's going on?
Are we not
you
your brothers
doing
and
this?"
sisters too?
You are. We're all citizens.
Exactly.
But there's such a riff, and there's been such a riff, and I know that you're not the riff. I know you're not because you just came in, and that's why I'm sitting here right now. You're not the riff. The riff is from previous leadership, and the riff has happened because of how they built their mindset, and they aren't being accountable for their mindset and for the way that they're showing people how to act. Because when you are a leader, people follow you.
Well,
So
all
if
I
you're
can do
breaking
is
the
act
law-
from this point forward because, I'm the new guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do. Everybody will be held accountable, including myself. I don't hold myself above accountability or doing what's right. I think it starts with me. I've got to do what's right first before I can hold anybody else accountable to doing what's right, and that's what's going to happen.
And I believe that of myself. So, it's amazing how many things you say that I've already said. It's amazing how many things I've posted online and tagged Joplin Police Department on before you came that I heard come straight from your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think we're that far off. I think we're very similar.
Ideologically, I think we are very similar, but in the real world and the physical world, I think we've got some differences.
Oh, yeah.
When this kind of thing gets posted, like I couldn't go on Facebook and say, "Hey, I think we ought to start shooting such and such group." That'd be inappropriate. That's not right. So you agree with that? That's not right.
Because of your policies. Yeah, because of the policies. And if you're saying that you should start shooting a group just because of, because of their ideology or something like that, I agree 100%. But if you're going to say that we have to band together to protect ourselves from these people that are clearly using a gang mentality to protect each other from accountability, then I might be on your side, because that's what's happened here. That thin blue line is a gang. It is a gang in this area, and they will protect each other.
That's not exactly the word I use. When I'm a career policeman, I've been in law enforcement my entire adult life, and I've never heard the police categorized or classified as a gang.
I've got plenty of evidence to
Again, it's
show
all
it.
subjective. I guess people can call us what we like, what they like.
When I follow a police officer down the road, doesn't have lights on, doesn't have anything on, and he's doing over 115 miles an hour in a 75 zone, and then I follow him through Webb City because he's trying to lose me, and I send that to the police force, and they do nothing, that's a cover-up.
Well, I can't speak to that, because if that had happened and you had sent that to me, something would have been done about it.
See, and
That's not right.
that's what we got to do, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm in front of you. That's 100% why I'm here.
Okay, well, I can make the promise to you, and I think this is where you're trying to go with this. I can make the promise to you, and we're being videoed, and that's fine. Actually, I like it that we're being videoed.
Yes.
I can make the promise to you that if that type of thing is going on, it will be found. I'm the new guy in town. If it's going on, I will take care of it. I will take care of it.
Thank you.
And that's not lip service. I'm telling you, I will take care of it. But I need something from you as well.
Okay.
What I need from you is for this type of stuff not to happen, where police officers have been threatened, hey, let's go out and shoot and endanger police officers.
I said I will remove those personally if they're still there. And I will talk to everyone that's a part of No Cap, and I will say, hey, we're not going to post any of that advocation of any kind of violence on anyone,
Good
so
enough.
that we can be above it.
Good enough. That's what I needed. That's what I needed. So I think we've got that understanding. You're going to have the police department is and has always been accountable, and is going to continue to be accountable. But we can't have private individuals or private groups saying, hey, let's go out and do bad things to the police.
Now, will you hand me that bulletin?
That is a...
Wouldn't that would be accountability? Because right now, what I can do is I can show how they're building the mindset, and you've already stated your piece, and we've shown what you stated it off of. Now give me the bulletin to show to the people so that I can show exactly what they did.
See, here's the thing, that's an intelligence bulletin. That's an internal intelligence bulletin. If I start giving those out, then everybody that has ever had an intelligence bulletin will come in and start saying, we want that. And that's not appropriate. It's exempt from sunshine laws. It's exempt from FOIA.
See, so that's where the accountability ends. When we aren't transparent, and when you have these secret little thingies
Well,
that
we
you
are
can
being
do to
transparent. I'm
build a
telling you
picture.
what it said. It said, be on the lookout for this guy. If you see him, use caution.
That's not all it said. It said more than that. It said quite a bit more than that. It took poetry. It took different parts of my poetry and put them into there to build an idea of me. It called me a sovereign citizen. And
are you a sovereign citizen?
I am not a sovereign citizen.
Okay.
People have asked me that. What did I say? I'm here to help my brothers and sisters.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't be a sovereign citizen if I'm here to help my brothers and sisters. I mean, I've lived a different life than you, and I've made some bad choices in my life, and I've done some wild things. But you know what? Every single thing that I've done in my life has led me to this point right here. And I can only be accountable for what I know and what I can, the knowledge that I had to turn to wisdom to make the right decisions. That's all any of us can do. But when we deny the character and we deny the things that are completely transparent to everyone, such as not presenting this bulletin when you want to build the bulletin off of things that I've put out, and then you want to...
Well, exactly. You just answered a lot of your own questions. We built that safety and security bulletin based off what either you or your group put out.
And a lot of it was of my poetry. They put my vehicle on there. They put pictures of me saying I like to wear wigs. Stuff like that. I mean, there was so much nonsense on there. So now it's became just a joke to everyone. So now I take pictures and I go buy wigs over at West 7th Street. But it was so egregious that anyone that knows me knew it was way out there. They knew it was completely, because the police didn't even want to come talk to me. Where was the phone call? Call me in and say, hey, Barry, what's up? What's going on?
Well,
how do we address
I've been here 2 weeks. How many times have we talked in these 2 weeks?
Twice.
At least twice in 2 weeks.
Twice now.
So do you think I'm trying to evade you or being...
I don't, and I'm excited because I do believe there's a lot of change coming, and I believe that there's going to be some people that are going to be gone, and I believe you're going to see that.
Well, if there's anybody that needs to be gone, they will be gone. But if there's not, then there won't be. I mean, I play things right down the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't go, 100%. I want to protect the police at all costs, or 100%. I'm going to go with what Barry Wingfield says.
No.
At all costs. I mean, I play it right down. Whatever's the right thing to do is what I'm going to do. Now, it may piss some people off.
Oh, it's gonna. It will.
And this is the message I've been putting out, and I've said it at least 20 times already since I've been here. You may not always like the things you hear me say, but you'll always know you heard the truth. And I'm always willing to sit down and explain myself. I keep putting that message out over and over and over, and that's what I'm doing here. That intelligence bulletin, that's not going to get put out. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's not going to get put out because it's an internal intelligence bulletin. It's a confidential document for internal operations with the police department, so that's not going to get put out.
So we can't make a special circumstance to bring accountability so that the people can see we will be accountable.
There is accountability.
If you guys put out a bulletin that is incorrect, and built by ideology from other people, because I kind of have a feeling that there was other people involved in it that were sending things over because they
Has
were...
legal seen that security bulletin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our legal department has seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we ran it through our legal department and it passed muster with them. So it can't be an illegal document or even an inappropriate document because our legal advisor looked at it and said this is good to go.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying it makes a loophole for our government. That's what it does.
I'm not trying to make a loophole.
But it is. That's what it is. I mean, you guys, I've put everything out there. I've told you guys what I was going to do the whole time. I've showed you my hand the whole time, and we've been playing poker, and you guys still are behind the game. Like somehow you still can't play fair. I've told you guys, I haven't hid anything. I've been honest with you guys.
And we're not hiding anything. That's just an internal,
Except for the bulletin.
confidential safety bulletin. And
It's not, but there's no safety in it. What it is a hit. It was a hit on me.
No,
It gave
it's in
them the right
response
to
to you.
shoot me.
It's in response to you saying, "Let's go out and hurt police officers."
That is not true. I did not say to hurt police officers. I said bad, or whoever posted this.
When we're
or
going to bad cops,
if it
that's
was me,
subjective too.
bad cops.
So to the police department, that's somebody else outside the police department deciding which among us is bad and who's not.
But that's what happened. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. We've got other meetings we've got to get to, but I didn't
Yes,
want to
sir.
blow you off. I didn't want to make you think that we're not going to talk to you. Everything, I made notes on those issues you brought up. I'm going to look into those today and see what needs to be done with those, if anything needs to be done with those.
Is Internal Affairs going to pull Captain Duncan in to speak with him about?
Well, he's already been investigated based on your complaint by the Missouri State Highway Patrol.
Yes. So
Does he not get due process?
he does.
Is he not
He
innocent
does,
until
but
proven
Internal
guilty?
Affairs doesn't want to do anything with it. Yeah, that's fine.
No, see, would it be right for our internal affairs to look at that, since he's one of ours, in this type of a complaint? Isn't it better for an outside agency who's not affiliated with us to come in and look at it and say, hey, we're not your buddies, we're not your pals, we don't work with you guys every day, we're gonna look at this objectively. Isn't that the better way to do it?
I don't believe so. I believe true accountability comes from within. And if your people look at it and they go, he did exactly what this guy says, and then your people hold your people accountable.
So what if our people look at it and say, hey, Captain Duncan is good to go? How would you feel about that?
Hey, that's
wouldn't
their
accept
right.
that. You
No,
would not
that is
accept
their
that.
right to do. And then I move on to the next step, where I would go to the troopers and I would turn it in, which I did.
And that's what we've done. We've sent this to the troopers to say, look into this gentleman's complaint.
So Internal Affairs felt that Officer Duncan was in the right.
Our internal affairs has not looked at it because we turned it over to an outside agency.
But that's where I'm saying, if you want to be accountable, start from within.
Oh, it's the exact
Police
opposite. If you want to be
yourself.
accountable, you don't police yourself. You give it to an outside agency, somebody who's impartial, who's not part of our group, somebody who doesn't have any allegiance to our group, to look at it and say, hey, you guys messed up.
I agree with what you're saying there, but also from within, if you look at it and you go, this doesn't look good, this doesn't look right, I don't agree with this, then you hold that person accountable in the situation right there as well. And you say, hey, we're going to pull you out. You've got to.
But the end result's going to be the same. If Missouri State Highway Patrol looks at this and says, hey, Duncan messed up, he did something wrong, then we're going to take care of it. We're going to do whatever is the right thing to do in relation to this incident.
But then at the same time, this has been going on. I turned this in a while ago, and now he's out talking on the streets with people, still wearing a uniform, still in that leadership role, and telling them he wants to plant a gun on me and shoot me.
And that should be investigated.
And now that's building a mindset in the public to where my safety is being questioned. I got people calling me, telling me this stuff because they're worried about my safety from the police and the general
Has this been
public.
taken to the Highway Patrol?
But
so
it's
that
got
they
to
can
be
investigate
told.
it?
Once you see it, if you agree and if you see it and you want to be accountable, accountability starts with yourself. So you have to say, okay, if I'm going to be accountable, you've got to sit out. You can't be out there doing that. You can't be out there telling other people that you want to do things against the law.
Based on what?
And
Based on what you say, somebody told you, somebody else said.
and
So
they're
that's
too
not even
scared.
second-hand information. That's third or fourth hand.
Yeah, this is exactly what the trooper says. It's hearsay because the guy is scared to come forward because he doesn't trust the police.
Well, I'll talk to Captain Duncan, and if he made a statement like that, we'll get it taken care of. I don't believe, knowing his character, the limited amount that I do, I don't believe he would have done that. But I'll talk to him about it.
So if I can get you the date and the location that it happened at and show you the two people standing there talking, that would give you
Hey, give me a place to start. If those people
give
come in
you
and talk to
something
me,
to search into, right? And
if
get
those people
something
come in
to
and
say.
talk to me, then I'll talk to them. And if there's some type of valid starting point, then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm never going to turn a blind eye to anything being done wrong that's being done. I'm never going to turn a blind eye to that. But I can't say, hey, I'm going to do something, discipline this guy based on what this guy says somebody told somebody else said they saw it. You know,
Yes.
that's just,
And I completely agree with that.
So if you can
there
bring
has
those
to be
people,
something
we'll talk.
brought forward. There has to be some actual evidence
Yep.
on it. And that's what I did bring to you guys from the training facility. Because I was in a public area and
That's
I was
why-
using my constitutional rights.
That's why I contact Highway Patrol, because that's the appropriate thing to do. When you bring a criminal complaint, when you say, I believe that there was a crime done here, that's why I sent that formal request, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. But
Regardless of what
also
you think of me or how you think of
Yeah.
me, that's the right thing to do.
I mean, I also feel the right thing to do is to be accountable for your people that are in leadership. And because Sergeant Blair, he was also there. He didn't come up on me like that. I thought he was very professional. He gave me his name and badge number. You know, he said, I don't know what you're going to do with it. And I said, well, isn't it your policy? You know, I mean, because it is. It's your policy. Captain Duncan wouldn't. That's not the leadership you want. You want leadership that follows policy. You want leadership that follows the law. You want leadership that does what's right, even when no one's looking. That's what integrity is. You want leadership that has integrity. He's showed a lack of integrity. That is enough for internal affairs to say, hey, we got to set you out. You've got to be held accountable.
Well, what you filed with the Missouri State Highway Patrol was a criminal complaint, correct? Okay, well, the criminal complaint always takes precedence over anything internal. So the criminal complaint, the criminal side of it would have to get done and complete before we could even start anything internal.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
So
There's a law called the Gantt Law. I mean, and what Gantt says is if an officer is being investigated internally and compelled to give information at the risk, at the cost of losing his job, because, you know, so that's
Gary.
Gary, I'm sorry. That officer is in jeopardy of losing their job, so anything they say is going to be under duress. So we can't use that in a criminal complaint. So the criminal complaint always has to go first.
Okay.
So that's what's happening now. The criminal complaint, the criminal side is being investigated. If the criminal side turns up something, then the internal side will start. And if there's something to it, then we'll dig it up and find it that way.
Okay.
That's the proper process.
I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate it.
And I know none of this is
I
probably been
appreciate you
explained to
letting
you
me
before,
know that.
but that's why I want to let you know how things have to go from a legal standpoint now.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll give you that information. You made the promise to me that this kind of stuff will stop and you're going to take that down.
Yes,
Okay.
I will take that down personally, and I will make sure that nobody posts anything
Well, I
talking
appreciate
about
that very
harming
much, man.
other
I really
people.
do. I really do. I
Oh.
thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for coming in and making me aware of these things. And like I said, I'm never going to blow you off. I'm never going to blow anybody off. If there's a concern a citizen has, I want them to come and talk to me. And maybe there's just a lot of times these things are miscommunications. You're thinking one set of things and we're thinking a different set of things. But once we sit down at the same table and everybody puts all their cards on the table, everything is cleared up and everybody leaves happy or equally unhappy, whichever.
And when these things came out, they simply could have called me and sat down and said, "Hey, what is up? What do you want to shoot cops?" And I would have said, "No, nobody should shoot cops. They shouldn't shoot cops. Nobody should feel the need. Nobody should feel that they're being harmed in that kind of way by our leadership."
But
to where they
that puts the police, or anybody for that matter, on a high state of alert when they see something like that. If I saw something from somebody in the community or anybody anywhere that says, hey, we should do bad stuff to Rich Pearson, well, you know, that's going to put me at a high level of alert. And I want to do what I think I need to do to protect myself. In this case, it was putting out the safety bulletin to say, hey, this guy has made threats against the police. If you see him, just keep that in mind. That's all that safety bulletin said.
Yes, and then when the public has been beaten down and their constitutional rights have been taken away,
But we're not talking about the
so
public, we're
many
talking about you.
times. Well, you're talking about your whole police force here, because I didn't threaten anybody specifically on the police force.
No.
So why can't I talk about the whole general public?
Okay.
Wouldn't that be fair?
I mean, I think that muddies the water quite a bit from the specific thing we're talking about here, but
But it doesn't, because if you're violating constitutional rights, that's all of our rights. See, that's not a sovereign citizen talking there. That's
I'm
an
not going to allow
American.
anybody here to violate anybody's rights.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to do now, and I appreciate that. But when I'm telling you this stuff has happened for so many years that it's built into the mindset of the leadership, of the people, because they've been thinking they can do this. They think that they can demand your ID when they have no reasonable suspicion. They have no probable cause. They have no nothing. They think they can stop you and demand your ID, and they've arrested people for that, for just walking down an alley because they didn't want to give an ID.
Things that
That's
happened in the past,
happened.
I can't do anything about, but I can do something about what goes on in the future, and that's why I'm here.
And that's why we're both here, because we're going to change the mindset, and we're going to change the culture, and we're going to build a community.
Whatever the right thing is to do is what we're going to do. That's where the community building comes in. That's where the trust comes in.
Accountable police build accountable communities. I believe that.
I'll go with that, yeah.
That's a simple saying that I've liked to say over and over and over, and I've posted it many times.
I don't disagree with that at all. I'm good to go with that.
So, all right, I appreciate your time. I won't take no more.
Okay. Well,
we good?
Yep. I think we're good as long as you get that stuff taken offline. And your complaint that was made with the state police is being investigated. If they find credit to it, then we'll start our internal investigation.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming in. I think we're good to go.
I'll show you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Captain Wolf.
So I know he's gonna be able to help you out with that.
See you later.
All right, see you.
It's Judy, J-U-D-Y.
All right, I'm still liking the guy. He's bringing accountability. So, it's all coming. It's all coming. Just got to have some faith, right? y'all ain't even trying to give him a chance. That's funny. Oh, man. People, come on now. He's we got to give him the opportunity to show us he's different, to show the